both here in Phoenix Stadium and from around the world.
Why, hello there. Don't I look good today? I am Adam Jacobi. I am your host. I am from GoIowaAwesome.com. I have quite a beautiful new camera. New little source of light, a new little everything. Look at this. I have a microphone. Isn't that sweet? So now I don't look like some guy who's on a Zoom call. I don't even sound like that now. I'm coming to you live in 4K. I mean, we're upgrading everything around here. We might even hire a full-time DJ. Marks a new era, really, of this whole operation. So welcome to the Iowa Sports Review. I actually said the name right that time. As I said, I'm your host, Adam Jacobi. Always glad to see you guys here. This is your midweek episode. We are looking forward to the tilt against the Colorado State Rams. They are based out of beautiful Fort Collins, Colorado. I've been there many a time, and I bet they wish they're going to be there this weekend, and they're not. They are coming to Iowa City, and they are probably going to get trounced. So I think we're looking forward to that. Now that all being said, yes. One, don't gamble. Two, the line is only 22, 23 points, which is pretty close to the Kent State game, and part of that is just because Kirk Ferentz is too good of a man to run up the score. But maybe he's not feeling too good. Maybe he's going to wake up feeling dangerous. Who knows? But welcome all of you fans, Romans. There's no Romans. Anyway, this is a show for all of you. So, as always, head on over to the YouTube page. Head over to the chat. Oh, I can point down there. Like, my microphone's in the way, but there's a chat area right there. And go ahead and send us in your questions, comments, thoughts, the whole shangy bang. And we are here to answer them for you. So, as always, just go ahead and click that and get started. And while you're here, if you would, go ahead and click like. Go ahead and click subscribe. YouTube really likes it when people do that, and it helps get our show in front of more fans just like you. We grow that community, and we have ourselves an even better wee of a time. So, really looking forward to everything that you all have to say. You might have noticed that I am wearing the official Raygun Punting is Winning shirt. And that comes complete with the Taylor 9 on the back. And I really couldn't be more excited to wear this. Now, I generally don't like to wear, other people's names on my shirts. I'm a little old for that, especially when the people whose names are on the back of the shirt are about half my age. It's close enough that it's pretty dicey, right? But this is a different situation. First of all, this is officially licensed through the University of Iowa, so there is actually, it's through the whole name, image, likeness. So this isn't anything untoward. This is exactly what NIL should have been about the entire time, and that's really exciting from my standpoint. I've always believed, I've believed for years and years and years, that it's best to, instead of selling like jerseys that have the right number, but there's no name on the back. It could be anyone, at Iowa who wore number 6 in the mid to late 90s, right? That pretense is done with. And now we can actually, there's also some Tyler Goodson stuff that we will be showing off pretty soon too. And once again, name on the back, fully licensed, fully legit. Love to see it. But this in particular, Punting is Winning is near and dear to my heart because as Tori explained when he announced the shirt, that it goes to the Count the Kicks campaign. It's a nonprofit. You see the little logo right there. And Count the Kicks is it's actually really great. He said all proceeds. So this isn't money going into his pockets. Plus, I don't know, with the whole Australian thing, I mean, income taxes, and it's more trouble than it's worth. I'm sure. But more importantly and more seriously, all proceeds are going to the Count the Kicks organization. And that's an evidence-based stillbirth prevention campaign that provides educational resources to healthcare providers and expectant parents. And that's really fantastic and really a great way to capitalize on his notoriety as a punter for the Iowa organization. I mean, where better to punt in all of college football? But I mean, really broadly, you don't often see male athletes, especially football players, take an interest in something like reproductive health. And you would think that, I mean, philosophically, you either do or don't believe it, and I'm not here to change anybody's mind, but too often I think that gets relegated to, only female athletes get to talk about that, right? And there's reproductive health is something that affects everybody, that everybody benefits from, right? So to see an athlete, especially so early in this NIL campaign, this new era, to use his fame for something which is invariably better for society, better for health, and something that is not traditionally something that male athletes try to bring attention to, really warms my heart, and I think really goes to show the character that Taylor has and the character that you see overall in the Iowa locker room. So the good news is, like I said, we've got that logo on the screen. We're going to keep that up today for Count the Kicks. And there will be there actually is already a link to the donation page in the description of today's video. So please, if you've got any money to spare, I know times are tough for a lot of people in these uncertain times, but if you if you like what Taylor is doing with this campaign, if that's something that you believe pretty strongly into, I know I do, then that's a really great way to help these things out. And if you like the look of the shirt, even better, that is going to be through Ray Gun Shirts. They are based out of Des Moines. They've got a store in Iowa City and elsewhere around the country. And I mean, you recognize they've got this iconic font. You see it on shirts everywhere all the time. You are going to have to hold your nose past their ISU section. But yeah, once again, this is something that I'm really, really proud of Taylor, Iowa football program, everybody involved, that they're doing this. So hats off to you, golf clap, or whatever they say down under. Good on you. Yeah. So go Tory Taylor. Awesome. And pick this up, donate if you want. And thanks for joining us. All right. Joe, welcome back as always. Joe Dvorak, I hope I pronounced your last name right. Is there bad blood from the Pinstripe Bowl could have line implications? I don't know. We'll talk about Steve Addazio. He is, first of all, we'll back up just a little bit. Colorado State's head coach currently is Steve Addazio. He was the head coach of Boston College in the Pinstripe Bowl. And my memory is hazy at my advanced age, but I thought Boston College played a pretty good, clean game. I could be wrong, but I do remember A.J. Dillon, who has thighs and legs the size of tree trunks, and who you just saw a couple nights ago playing for Green Bay on Monday Night Football. He ran all over Iowa, something to the tune of I think it was 32 rushes, 160 yards, and a touchdown, and just absolutely beasting on the Hawkeyes. And it was a tough game. And it was that classic like frozen field. I mean, it was not aesthetically pretty, but I didn't think that there was anything Boston College did that was particularly untoward. If anything, I think that there's might be a little bit of mutual respect between Ferentz and Adazio. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but I don't think that there's actual bad blood. And if there are line implications, I think it's the other way around, right? I think Adazio and he was playing that run first, run second, try to run third, and then punt the heck out of the ball. I mean, Kirk Ferentz probably looked across the field and said, "Bravo, this is my brand of football. I like it." So that is, if anything, I'd be. Is it called fading the Hawks if you don't think they'll cover? You can tell I'm really quite the gambling expert here. Joe Pick, welcome back, friend. Welcome back. Besides loving the philosophy in the front, the cause is near and dear. Be my first NIL supported merch. Yep, absolutely. It was mine too. And again, like I wasn't planning on buying anything with anybody's name, on it. I support it. I've always supported it, but I've always been the sort of guy like, well, if I'm wearing someone else's name on my back, then who the heck am I? But I can get behind this. I believe in this. I'm not going to go so far as to say all athletes should donate all their money because everybody's situation is different. I haven't heard anything about any other athletes getting, donating their NIL money or anything like that. I'm not expecting it from anybody else. I am appreciating the gesture that we have in front of us. So, yep, that's where I am with this. Speaking of Steve Adazio, hammer the under. Listen, I'm telling you, especially because Colorado State's best player is, wait for this, their punter. Oh, yeah. His name is something like Ryan Stonechurch or like Beef Rock Foot, or it's something along those lines. He is an all Mountain West punter for, I think, 3 years running. Almost certainly has an NFL future. And so, again, just like at Iowa, at Colorado State, punting is not a sin, and it really better not be a sin because they're not good at offense. We're honestly talking about one of the statistically worst teams in Division I football so far this year, or in FBS. According to the Sagarin ratings, Colorado State is better than all but about 5 or 6 of the FCS teams. They're literally ranked below Northern Iowa in the Sagarin ratings. And this is even after beating Toledo last week. They were 14.5-point underdogs to Toledo. So maybe they're on their way up. Maybe, this week, Toledo, next week, a top 5 team in the nation at their house. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. I will say that I was so unimpressed in the early goings of my research on Colorado State. I decided to do a little bit more research than last week's non-effort about Kent State. For your fans, it's all for you guys. But really, after about 5 minutes of looking around and saying, "Oh no, these guys are bad. These guys are they're bad." I sort of abandoned that effort. I mean, you can tell I didn't even memorize the name of the punter, and so in honor of Steve Adazio, I decided to draw his most iconic line, and I also drew him too. And these are not googly eyes. I'm still working on that, but guys being dudes. Producer man, do we have that clip loaded up yet by any chance? I mean, it's been 15 minutes. Hopefully we've got that. Boy, this is terrifying now that I'm looking at it on camera. Oh, this is... But it looks like him, right? A little bit? Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, here we go. Turn it up. Turn it up. Do it again.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Guys being dudes. How can you not love that? What's better than that, right? So we'll keep horrifying monster Adazio with us for the rest of the week, and then who knows? We'll just go from there. So hopefully in fact, we might even do a little post game with Coach Adazio. Who knows? Who knows? Joe says Adam should follow Adam Jacobi on the back of his shirt. There's no. I'm not on Twitter anymore. And on top of that, you can't. Why would you put a hashtag on a shirt? Right? Have you ever clicked a hashtag that's on a shirt? The answer is no, you haven't. And Lord knows I've tried. That'll just get you an assault charge. They get dropped. They always get dropped. I would follow Beef Rockfoot into battle. Listen, if anything, I'm a little upset that Iowa didn't recruit Steak Slate Kick or whatever his name is. Punch Rockroyd. That's the reference I'm going for. Over under on Jeremy. Welcome back. As always, over under on plays throwing the ball 20 plus yards downfield, 3.5. Like for both teams combined? Because it's at the point, and I know this is going to change once the Big Ten season comes back and really kicks into gear and Iowa actually gets challenged by teams. But it's at the point where anything more than like a seam route, which we've run one, but anything more than that to Kirk Ferentz just counts as like an exotic, right? Like it might as well be like a double reverse Statue of Liberty. Lineman puts the ball between his knees. Could have gone worse there. Like he's not going to do that unless he's just showing off. So I don't know what sort of degenerate would actually bet on something like that. I don't even know if Las Vegas would cater to those degenerates. They cater to everything. But if they did, I think they would set the line lower than 3.5. I'm just saying. I'd like to posit for all Petrus is the anti-Stanzi, Joe. You are absolutely correct. And that is by design. And, so far that's exactly what this team needs. I mean, you remember Stanzi, who ended up being a great Hawkeye quarterback, unconditionally. His name is all over the career marks. He's obviously not number one, but he put together a really tremendous career. It took Northwestern cheating and ripping apart his ankle, somehow never called. Not that I'm still bitter. I'm still bitter. But it took that to derail Iowa's undefeated season. And that team was really destined for good things. I thought they were more talented with Stanzi at the helm than the 2015 team that actually did go undefeated in the regular season. I don't know if they would have made it past either Northwestern or Ohio State. I would like to think so. I would like to hope so. But, I mean, that was one of Ferentz's most complete teams. And Stanzi was a great man for it. That being said, the term Rick Six did exist, and it did put Iowa into a lot more stressful situations than the team needed. And you can see where Kirk got his extreme distaste for how should we put it, for turnovers that don't have to happen. Right? There's some instances where, it's 3rd and 15, the game's on the line, and if the throw's off by a yard, it's going to end up in somebody else's hands. Well, that's better than throwing a check down, right? Those are situations where, you want to be pushing it, and we saw even Nate Stanley get to make the most of those situations on those drives against Iowa State, against Nebraska. But those were situation-based pushes downfield. Normally, he didn't do a whole lot of those. He did a few. But normally, those were throws that Ferentz wouldn't have liked. And right now, Iowa hasn't been challenged to the point where even if those routes are being run, even if they're starting to come open a little bit, if they don't have to be thrown, and that's sort of the mental math that Ferentz wants his quarterbacks to be doing. And if they don't have to be thrown, then don't throw them. And so Petrus doesn't throw them. He can. I thought the throw to Reganey at the end of the Kent State game, it was on target. It was where it needed to be. It was also wide open. But that's what it takes. If somebody, let's say they run 98 degrees Lachey on a post route and just nobody follows him, and that happens in the second quarter, of course Petrus is going to go deep with that. Of course. But I think that's sort of the situation that Petrus has to find himself in. Like, that better not get picked off. And so if nobody's within 15 yards of him, it's not going to get picked off. All right, chuck it. And he's got the arm to do it. We've seen it enough. We saw it plenty last year. Obviously, it didn't get worse. Also, since I'm holding in my hand, this podcast stream, what do we even call this, is brought to you by Polar Seltzer. Polar Seltzer, made from the tears of real bears. Look it up. Bear tears. All right. Stanzi's the Hulk. Why is that the premise? If Stanzi is the Hulk, Petrus is Bruce Banner. Okay. And maybe he'll eventually become Professor Hulk. Oh, I don't think that we're going to ever see Spencer Petrus in a medium sweater vest. Even the smart glasses, which look great on Hulk, by the way. I'm not sure we're ever going to see that either. That being said, I like your mentality. I like, if it gets us that iconic scene, and I know I'm going backwards in the Avengers franchise here, but if we get Petrus turning to Kirk Ferentz and saying, "That's a secret, coach. I'm always ready to chuck it deep." Boom. Everything's worth it there. Everything becomes worth it. All right. It is 8:24 p.m. and you are watching Perspectives. As always, I'm your host, Adam Jacobi. GoIowaAwesome.com. If this is your first time watching, welcome. This show is for you, the viewer. So head on over to YouTube or to the chat machine on Twitter. Enter in your questions right there, and we are more than happy to answer them. Chat with your friends. Chat with everybody you want. And hey, that's what we're here for. We are looking forward to the Colorado State game. It's going to be week 4. And Iowa is looking to push to 4-0 on the season. So we're looking forward to that. And as always, we are here for y'all. Go ahead and chat. Go ahead and talk with your friends there. And yes, happy to see you all. Yeah, Stanzi touchdowns to interceptions was 17-15 in 2009. Yes. But that was, and some of those were really, really ugly interceptions. But he still led the team to the victories that he needed, and it was great. Dan says he saw Petrus driving a scooter in front of Carver Hawkeye. Okay, look. I have a comment about this. One thing that a different Spencer, a worse Spencer, Spencer Rattler, got to do was drive some dealership. He had his choice of like 2 high-end dealership car, like we're talking like a sports car or one of those like insecure male big old pickup trucks. Like what's Rattler gonna do with a huge pickup truck? Like haul 500 footballs to practice? That's not that. Well, yeah, of course he looked happy. Scooters make people happy. That's not the point. That's not the point. Long established fact that scooters make people happy. But that being said, if he's able to do that, if Rattler's able to do that, and he was like Heisman favorite, he's not going to win the Heisman. We all know that. I feel like at the very least, someone in I've already forgotten what the dealerships are in Iowa City in the eastern Iowa area. Hit me in the chat with what the dealerships are now. I don't think Cheez-It Sayers is still there, or if it is, it's not called that. Rest in peace to Gail Sayers. But give him a used Subaru or something. Like the weather's about to change. Before the football season's over, he's going to need something with a little bit of all-wheel drive. Like, have you ever tried to drive up Riverside by Carver Hawkeye Arena when it's snowing out? It's impossible. Just impossible. That hill. Not even the CAN buses can do it. So let's hook up our thank you, Jeremy. It's Billion in Iowa City. All right. Joe with the great call. Scooters do not make Josh Keppel happy. I don't think we're going to be able to get that clip pulled up in timely fashion, which is just a shame. But for those of you who remember the CAN bus sending Keppel absolutely flying, and I think that's while he was starting on the offensive line. I've seen Iowa athletes and I've seen Iowa linemen do a lot of really impressive athletic things. I've seen Tristan Wirfs jump out of a pool and land on his feet. But I've never seen anybody go, we're going to, I'm not going to say the phrase I wanted to say, but I've never seen anybody go like full, like 720 in the air, and then just walk away from it. That's tremendous. That takes either athleticism. Yes, the sandal entered low orbit. It was, and I'm glad that we can laugh about it now because he was fine. Because the first time that we saw that video, it's like, did we just watch someone die? but he was okay, and so we can laugh about it now. But I think it also goes to show that, you remember the urban legend, like, oh, if the CAN bus hits you, you get all A's. And that I don't know how that myth persists and on every campus too. It wasn't even an Iowa thing. It was just they'll pay you $1 million if you just get hit by a CAN bus. One, no, they won't. Two, you don't want that to happen to you. Because we see over and over that the impacts that football players take, if they happen to you or me, they would need like a shop vac and a power hose to clean up what had just happened. Look at this. Look at the production here. Here we go. And buckle up, if you will. And we're boom! Right? Is that where it was? No, I already missed it. Here we go. Oh! And there goes the sandal. Yeah. I always thought it was a CAN bus, and he's okay. Right. He's okay, so we can laugh at it. But that is a tremendous impact. And you don't want that to happen to you under any circumstances. It's just the best for you. And down comes the sandal. Down comes the sandal. And one more time. Oh! Oh, luckily we got a good Samaritan here because it is Iowa City. It is Iowa City. And I think we're now about 2 hours away from somebody in Ames going like, actually helping scooter crossing victims. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. All right. Looks like our chat is winding down here, but I don't know about all of you, but I am super looking forward to the Colorado State game. I think it's going to be another instance where we get to see a lot of that depth on display in a lot of instances for the first time for these players in the season, second at most. I think we're going to see a lot of Arlen Bruce, or at the very least, even more than we did last week. I think we're going to see some Keegan Johnson. I'm also very interested in how we're going to see the running back rotation play out. I really don't think we're going to see Ivory Kelly Martin, which is a little bit too bad because fumbles are not necessarily indicative of future performance. I mean, they're bad. They're very bad. We know that in Iowa City, turnover equal bad. And there's something to that, but there's also been some statistical analysis that just because somebody fumbles, it might not make it more likely that they're going to fumble again that week or even the next week. So is it a little unfair to IKM? Yeah, a little bit, but this had also been an issue with him prior to the injury, as I recall. So between that and the fact that there's some really talented, promising kids, both named Williams, but not related. And I don't think they'd think it was funny if you asked them if they are. But, Gavin Williams looked pretty good. And I think that we'll see more of LaShawn Williams too. Tyler Goodson is probably going to run riot. That being said, I do want to see that rotation. I'd like to see the wide receiver rotation, and even the offensive line rotation. They're still easing Kyler Schott back into the game, and I think they're pretty happy with, I guess now it's a 9-man rotation on the line, and how that ends up playing out, especially in a game that's probably not going to be, too much of a competitive thing. Joe mentions that Chad Lyskow, who is an awesome dude, and hopefully we get to talk to him on here soon. Just a tremendous, tremendous beat writer. He says that the whole team is rallying behind Ivory Kelly Martin, and that's good to hear. And honestly, from everything that I'd heard about his character over the last few years, it doesn't surprise me all that much. And so if that's going to keep him out of the doghouse, that I'll call that a pleasant surprise. And I'm happy about that. I'm genuinely happy. I hope that's how that actually plays out. Because we've seen players, get on the wrong side of Kirk for a whole lot longer than a week or two for just about that same sort of thing. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Also looking forward to how the defense's rotations are going to be playing out. We mention it quite a bit, but it still amazes me that between Seth Benson, Jack Campbell, who there's been some clips floating around on Twitter over the last couple weeks, over the last couple days, some of his highlights, and Campbell is tremendous. He might end up on par with Greenway or Jewell when it's all said and done. I mean, his instincts, his bursts of speed, if he stays healthy, he is positioned to be one of the most productive middle linebackers in Hawkeye history or I don't even know if we call him middle linebacker because they're so positionless along that core anymore. But really one of the most productive linebackers in Iowa history. He's on that trajectory right now already. He can do it in space. He can do it in coverage. He can do it even spying the quarterback. He can do it all. He's great. Yeah, so they've got Benson, they've got Campbell, they've got Justin Jacobs, who keeps making huge plays. And they've got Dane Belton, who has been owning that star role on defense since last season. So that's 4 guys who are basically playing linebacker adjacent roles. At best, you can only have 3 of them on the field at any given time. How do you manage that? Because at some point you are taking a really, really talented playmaker off the field, at least one of them. And I've said it before, it's a really great problem to have. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that ends up shaking out. And one of the last things that I'm looking forward to seeing is how much depth we see in the secondary. Who are the backups that we're going to see get a lot of playing time, especially at cornerback. I would also like to see, how much Colorado State decides to throw at Riley Moss, which can, be disastrous. Just go ahead and ask Indiana about that. But Kent State, for a little bit, decided that Moss was their best shot at pushing the ball deep. And it took some defensive adjustments by Phil Parker at halftime to take that big play button off the board. And once Iowa did that, Kent State had no answer. So it'll be interesting to see if Colorado State can figure out a way to scheme a one-on-one with Riley Moss, who, listen, he has a nose for making plays. And if you throw a bad ball near him, he'll make you pay for it. But if it turns into a foot race and the ball is where it's supposed to be, that looks like the closest thing to a liability in the Iowa secondary. And mind you, I'm not talking about a bad player here, not one bit. And the fact that he was grading out at about 90 on the PFF scale coming into the Kent State game, I haven't checked to see where he is now, but he grades out really well. So you have to make really good plays to beat him. But, it's not like this is the first time in the last few years we've ever seen anyone pick on Riley Moss. Just go back to the Purdue game and David Bell just last year. And that was a mess in a hurry. And it was usually directed at number 33. So it'll be interesting to see how Colorado State decides to attack that, whether it's successful at all. And, if that's not, I don't know what else is going to be. And so our man Adazio here, he might be in for a long, long afternoon. What's better than guys being dudes? Ball hawk you, baby. That's what's better. Winning is better. So let's look forward to 4-0. Let's look forward to a nice, easy breezy, beautiful victory in Iowa City. So, Dan, you are, boy. Shades of Christian McCaffrey. I mean, insofar as they both play running back, but oh boy, man, listen, the only way Christian McCaffrey, his defining performance was just beating the heck out of Iowa. Like, I mean, the only way that I can see Gavin Williams having shades of Christian McCaffrey is if Gavin Williams somehow gets like 30 players kicked off the team. Like, that's the amount of damage he would have to do to Iowa's program or even to Stanford's program. Let's get some revenge that way. But other than that, man, You can't say Liddell Bats something? I don't know. Adam, throw some facial hair on that and it's a self-portrait. I don't know. Now, okay. All right, Joe. Is there any resemblance here whatsoever? No, of course not. Of course not. Who could possibly? I mean, look, his hair, his head is shiny, right? And this is just well trimmed. It's totally different. I reject the premise. Let's ban him. Let's ban him and let's press charges. We're pressing charges on Joe Pick. Confirmed. Look what you did. All right. With that, no, yes, banned. Come on. All right. Well, today's been fun. Thank you all for joining us once again. My name is Adam Jacobi. GoIowaAwesome.com. Be sure to click like. Be sure to click subscribe down below. And we are definitely looking forward to seeing you all after the game. Saturday evening. Forget the guy that said Sunday. He's banned too. Saturday evening, 7:30 after the game. It's your post game show, and we're going to be here live in the 4K studio, taking your questions, your thoughts, and likely your celebrations. So we will see you there. With that, go Iowa Awesome, go Hawks. Good night.